From January 24 to 31, something unusual happened, not in the world but inside the mind. Many people believe witchcraft is broken by rituals, objects, or prayers, but that belief keeps them weak. Today, I will show you why one word spoken from the correct state can shut every curse down instantly, not by force, not by fear, but by awakening the authority you forgot you had. If you listen carefully, you will never feel spiritually attacked again. Most people think time is neutral. They believe every day carries the same weight, the same resistance, the same invisible pressure. But if that were true, growth would happen evenly, breakthroughs would come on demand, and healing would be predictable. Yet, it never works that way. Some days feel heavy no matter how hard you try, and other days without effort. Everything suddenly becomes clear. This is not imagination. This is timing. Between January 24 and January 31, something subtle shifts, not outside you, but within the rhythm of attention itself. During this window, the mind naturally becomes quieter, more receptive, less scattered. When the noise drops, intention travels farther. This is why ancient disciplines always emphasize choosing the right moment, not because the universe plays favorites, but because the human system has cycles, and when you move with them instead of against them, resistance dissolves. Witchcraft, curses, negative influence, whatever name you give it, only functions where resistance already exists. It requires confusion, emotional instability, or unconscious reaction. When the inner world is unsettled, it becomes accessible. But when the mind settles, interference finds no grip. During this period, the mind settles faster. Awareness sharpens, and what once felt heavy suddenly feels distant, almost irrelevant. This is why effort alone has never freed anyone. Effort fights the problem. Alignment removes it. During these days, alignment is easier not because you are stronger, but because you are clearer. When clarity is present, even a small intention carries authority. A single word, spoken from presence, does more than hours of struggle spoken from fear. Many people misunderstand power. They think it comes from doing more, saying more, protecting more. But real power comes from knowing when to act. Timing transforms simplicity into force. A whisper at the right moment carries more weight than shouting at the wrong one. This is why repetition during this window is not mechanical. It is neurological. It teaches the nervous system to recognize safety, sovereignty, and control. As this alignment strengthens, something important happens. Your reactions change. The mind no longer scans for threats. The body relaxes. Emotional hooks fall away. And when there is nothing to hook into, no curse, intention, or projection can remain. It has nowhere to land. This is not mysticism. It is awareness meeting the correct moment. When awareness and timing intersect, dominance returns to its rightful place. You stop defending. You stop fearing. You stop searching for protection. You stand. People often believe that witchcraft comes from outside, from someone else's intention, from an object placed somewhere, from words spoken in secrecy. This belief feels logical, but it hides a deeper truth. Nothing external has power on its own. Influence only enters when the inner world is already open to it. And the doorway it uses is fear. Fear is not just an emotion. It is a state of contraction. When fear is present, the mind narrows, the body tightens, and awareness drops. In that moment, a person becomes reactive instead of present. This is where manipulation begins. Not because something attacks you, but because you momentarily step away from your center. Witchcraft does not chase the strong. It feeds on uncertainty. The more someone fears being affected, the more attention they give to the idea of being attacked. Attention is energy. Wherever attention goes, energy follows. This is why people who constantly protect themselves feel more attacked, while those who stand calmly often remain untouched. Fear invites, presence repels. Look closely at your own experience. When fear rises, thoughts multiply. The mind creates stories, imagines threats, remembers past pain. The body responds as if danger is real, even when nothing is happening. In this state, the nervous system is no longer anchored. It becomes receptive to suggestion, belief, and projection. This is not spirituality, it is psychology. The moment awareness returns, the spell breaks. When you notice fear instead of becoming it, something shifts instantly. The breath deepens, the body softens, the mind stops racing. And with that shift, the door closes. Not gradually, immediately. Nothing external can override inner presence. This is why rituals fail when fear remains. People perform actions hoping to feel safe, but safety never comes from action alone, it comes from clarity. Once clarity is there, no ritual is needed. The system naturally rejects intrusion the way a healthy body rejects disease. Understand this clearly. Fear is not weakness. It is untrained attention. And attention can be trained. During this time, when awareness rises more easily, the grip of fear loosens faster. You start to see how many thoughts you believed were never yours. How many sensations you thought were attacks were simply tension. When fear dissolves, witchcraft has nothing to work with, no belief to anchor into, no emotion to amplify, no reaction to feed on. It fades, not because it was fought, but because it was exposed. You do not break curses by resisting them. You break them by becoming unshakable. Many people ask for the word as if it were a weapon, a code, or a secret formula. They believe that once they hear it, everything will change. But a word by itself, only sound. Sound has no authority unless it carries state. And state is not something you force. It is something you enter. When a person speaks from agitation, the word becomes weak. When a person speaks from fear, the word becomes empty. This is why some repeat powerful phrases for years and still feel vulnerable. They are speaking from the mind, not from presence. The sound moves outward, but the state remains fractured. The word works only when the body is settled and the mind is still. In that stillness, something subtle happens. The nervous system shifts from reaction to command. Breathing slows. The eyes soften. Attention gathers instead of scattering. In that moment, the word is no longer a sound. It becomes a signal, a declaration of order. This is how authority functions in nature. A leader does not shout to be obeyed. Their presence speaks before their voice does. The same principle applies here. When the inner world is aligned, the word does not ask for protection. It states reality, and reality responds. People often underestimate how deeply the body listens. The body does not understand language the way the mind does. It understands tone, rhythm, certainty. When a word is spoken from stillness, the body recognizes safety. And once the body feels safe, the mind follows. This creates coherence, and coherence is untouchable. During this period, accessing that state becomes easier. You do not need effort. You do not need belief. You simply need to stop interv. Ring. Let the breath drop. Let the shoulders release. Let attention rest where it is, instead of chasing thoughts. From that space, when the word is spoken, it does not push against darkness. It renders it irrelevant. This is why some people feel immediate relief, while others feel nothing. It is never about the word itself. It is about whether the speaker is divided or whole. Division weakens, wholeness commands. Once spoken correctly, the effect is not dramatic. It is quiet. The mind stops scanning. The emotional charge dissolves. You may even forget why you were afraid. This forgetting is important. It means the loop has been broken. What no longer occupies attention cannot maintain influence. Do not rush this. Do not perform it. Allow the state to form, then let the word arise naturally from it. When that happens, the system reorganizes itself without force. The word is not power. Repetition is often misunderstood. People think repeating something means forcing it into reality, like knocking on a locked door until it breaks. But repetition does not work through pressure. It works through familiarity. The nervous system learns through rhythm, not force. What you repeat calmly becomes what the body trusts. When repetition happens at the wrong time, it feels tiring. The mind resists, attention drifts, and the words become hollow. But during this period, repetition behaves differently. The system is already more receptive. Awareness is closer to the surface. The body list ends without tension. This is why repeating the word now does not drain energy, it organizes it. Each repetition sends a a message inward, not to the intellect, but to the deeper layers that regulate safety and threat. When those layers hear the same signal again and again, spoken from stillness, they stop scanning for danger. They recognize stability. And once stability is recognized, the system automatically rejects intrusion. This is how habits are formed, not by understanding but by consistency. The body does not change because it is convinced. It changes because it is trained. Repetition during this window trains the system to remain centered even when old triggers appear. Over time, reactions that once arose instantly simply fail to appear. Notice something important here. Repetition is not about hoping the word will work. It is about removing doubt from the body. Doubt is tension. Tension keeps the door open. When repetition dissolves doubt, the door closes on its own. People often repeat affirmations while watching for results. That watching itself creates strain. True repetition is almost indifferent. You speak the word, not to check if something happens, but because it is natural to do so, like breathing, like standing upright. When repetition becomes natural, it becomes powerful. During these days, even short repetition leaves an imprint. Morning and night is enough. Not rushed, not emotional, just present. Over time, the nervous system begins to anticipate calm. It prepares for stability instead of threat. This anticipation changes perception. Situations that once felt dangerous lose their charge before they even reach the mind. This is why repetition multiplies power now, not because the word gains strength, but because resistance weakens. The less resistance there is, the less effort is required. Eventually, the word no longer needs to be spoken. The state remains on its own, and when the state remains, influence cannot enter. When the inner shift begins, most people expect something dramatic. They wait for a sign, a vision, a sudden event that proves something has happened. But real change rarely announces itself loudly. It arrives quietly, almost unnoticed. And that is why many miss it. The signs are subtle, yet unmistakable if you know where to look. One of the first signs is calm without effort, not the calm you force by distracting yourself, but a natural settling. The mind stops replaying the same worries. Thoughts still come, but they no longer cling. You notice space between them. This space is important. It shows that the loop has been interrupted. What once controlled attention no longer has the same grip. Sleep often changes next. Some people begin to sleep deeper. Others wake earlier feeling rested. Dreams may become clearer or less chaotic. This is not coincidence. When the nervous system releases vigilance, the body finally repairs itself. Deep rest is a sign that the system no longer feels under threat. Emotio. Nali, reactions soften. Situations that once triggered anger, fear, or suspicion now feel distant. You may still observe what is happening, but you are no longer pulled into it. This neutrality is not weakness. It is authority returning. When emotion no longer overrides awareness, influence has already lost. Another sign is a sudden lack of interest in protection rituals, not because you are careless, but because the urgency disappears. You no longer feel the need to constantly guard yourself. This is a crucial indicator. The moment protection feels unnecessary, it means the inner environment has become inhospitable to intrusion. You may also notice changes in how others respond to you. Conversations shift. Certain people withdraw. Others become calmer around you. This is not because you are doing something to them. It is because presence affects space. When you are grounded, unstable dynamics either settle or move away. Physically, tension releases in unexpected places. The jaw softens. The shoulders drop. Breathing deepens without instruction. These are signs the body has stopped bracing. A braced body is vulnerable. A relaxed body is resilient. Some experience a brief wave of emotional release, sadness, fatigue, even tears. This is not regression. It is clearance. When old fear leaves, it must pass through awareness before it dissolves. Allow it. Do not analyze it. Observation completes the process. The most important sign is this. You stop thinking about witchcraft altogether. When the topic loses emotional charge, it has already lost power. What does not occupy the mind cannot influence the system. Do not chase signs. Let them come and go. The quieter the shift, the deeper it has gone. Most people live in a constant state of defense. Even when nothing is happening, part of the mind remains alert, scanning, protecting, preparing. This may feel responsible, but it quietly keeps you small. Defense assumes vulnerability. It assumes something outside has authority over you. Dominion begins the moment that assumption dissolves. Protection is useful when awareness is unstable. It buys time. It creates space. But protection is never the destination. If you remain in protection long enough, it becomes fear in disguise. True freedom comes when the inner position shifts from guarding against influence to standing beyond it. When dominion is established, nothing needs to be pushed away. There is no struggle. There is no resistance. External forces do not retreat because you fight them. They disappear because there is no entry point. Just as darkness vanishes when light is present, influence vanishes when authority is embodied. Authority does not come from confidence or belief. It comes from alignment. When thought, emotion, and body move as one, the system becomes coherent. Coherence is the highest form of strength. It cannot be manipulated because there are no internal contradictions to exploit. This is why curses cannot return once dominion is real. They rely on reactivation, a memory, a fear, a moment of doubt. But when the system no longer identifies with those states, there is nothing to reactivate. The past loses access to the present. You will notice this shift not in what you do, but in what you stop doing. You stop explaining yourself. You stop seeking reassurance. You stop needing to prove strength. There is a quiet finality in your presence. Not arrogance, not aggression, just certainty. From this place, even challenges are experienced differently. You meet them without contraction. Problems appear, but they do not destabilize you. You respond instead of react. This is dominion in practice. Life continues, but it no longer controls your internal state. Understand this clearly. Dominion is not invincibility. It is independence. Things may still happen, but they do not own you. And what does not own you cannot harm you. This is why the word, the timing, the repetition, and the awareness all lead here. Not to endless defense, but to self-governance. When you govern yourself, no external system can override you. You do not need to seal doors. When there are no walls, stand fully in your center and nothing returns.